This week on the StressLess Camping RV Podcast,
we are going to tell you about the mods that we have done on all three models of our Rockwood Mini Lites.
Whether they're really great mods or some that are questionable, how do they affect your resale value, and is this something you want to do to your RV? Join us as we talk RV mods this week on the podcast.
Don't forget to like and share. Thank you for joining us for episode 306. Wish we could have a campfire.
It's snowing, and I'm Tony.
And I'm Peggy.
We're two RV industry veterans who travel part-time.
Not right this minute, but we usually travel part-time in a Rockwood Mini Lite.
Looking to share big adventures and help you with great tips,
tricks,
and discounts. And we are coming to you from snowy
Pagosa Springs, Colorado.
Yeah.
We're on a little vacation with family, and so we're not in our Mini Lite, but we wanted to tell you about some of the things we've done to our Mini Lites.
Yes.
Lights.
Mini Lights. One of the things that we have done is we use Liquified as our RV tank treatment. And until the end of this month, and the end of May 2025,
right,
you can still enter to win an Alliance Delta travel trailer from Liquified. Now, there's no cost. You can just go on liquified.com and fill out a survey, and that will give you entries into the contest. We tested a number of RV tank treatments.
Yeah.
And we spoke with our friend Joshua, who tested all these treatments. Mm-hmm. And we spoke with the founder of Liquified, Matt. And you can see all of that, but we use Liquified. So at the Liquified website, you can also get your own Liquified RV holding tank treatment. It's an all-natural product that it really just works. And there's also gray tank treatment, and toilet bowl cleaner.
So if you use the link, you can register to try to win the travel trailer, but you can also save 10% on your first Liquified order. Try it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, we have had our trailer now since November, put 9,000 miles on it, and our holding tank shows empty when it's empty.
When it's empty. Amazing.
That's the measure.
Always think of Matt when you poop. So we are on our third version of Rockwood Mini Lite, our fourth actual Rockwood Mini Lite. You probably have heard the story, but the one we only had for a few months got rear-ended and totaled. And so we'll just kind of talk about that model. We won't necessarily specifically each one of the two.
Right, but our whole adventure started as we were shopping for RVs. We spent a year looking at RVs, or more, and finally settled on a Rockwood Mini Lite 1905, which
Not settled.
No, that's right.
Finally decided on.
Right. It wasn't a settle. It was a clear and obvious choice. And we bought that trailer, and it was a small single axle, no slide trailer. It was a great trailer. Mm-hmm. It had a Murphy bed. And the first mod, we were like, we're not going to mod this trailer.
Well, we were so new to travel trailers, really, we didn't even know the word mod, let's face it.
Okay.
We just said, you buy a travel trailer, you use the travel trailer. Then we thought, maybe there's some things that aren't exactly perfect for us that we could change.
The first thing we did, that trailer, when it had a Murphy bed in the front, and it had a jackknife sofa. So the jackknife sofa would kind of fold out and flat, and the Murphy bed would come down on top of it.
Right.
Well, that jackknife sofa had, there's obviously a mechanism to make that folding stuff work. And that mechanism was so close to the armrest of the couch that it would actually kind of scratched the couch and ultimately ripped it. So we filed a warranty claim. They replaced the couch, brand new couch, and the new couch did the same thing. And I thought, gosh, this is frustrating. So we started a Facebook group because I'm like, where do we find answers? So we started this little Facebook group, which grew to 12 or 13,000 people so far.
Over 12,000 now. But the whole question was like, who knows what to do about this to fix this?
Yeah, and so ultimately, the first mod we did was we just took the darn couch out altogether.
So we used camp chairs, and we set up our little living room office space, and the camp chairs would fold down, lay on the floor. when we wanted to put the Murphy bed down. So it really worked well for us.
Funny thing is, I took it out, and by then I was working at the RV dealership.
Yep.
And I said to Peggy, I'm like, well, if we take out the couch, maybe I could sell the couch. And I just did.
And Peggy said, well, let's put it in the garage for a little while, try a couple of camping trips, and then decide if we're going to sell the couch. So the next day, Tony took the couch to work and sold it.
Yeah. Bye, couch.
Good thing I didn't say I hated it, because then he would have had to buy a new couch.
Yeah. So we have notes that we're referring to if you see us looking. The next thing we did, RV mattresses are not the best. And then that folding, the nice thing about the way Rockwood does their Murphy beds is it's a solid platform. So a lot of these RVs with Murphy beds, you have to fold, and
I don't really have any desire ever to have something with a folded mattress.
No, because
that fold is going to hit right in the wrong part of my body, no matter what.
Another early change we did was we just got a mattress pad, and then we went to Quartzsite, and we found the RV super bed. Because making a Murphy bed...
Well, making any RV bed, come on, if anyone out there hasn't done it, you're in for quite a treat. It is not easy 97.5% of the time to reach like the top corners of the bed. And people, they'll pull the mattress out and get up around the top corner. Fine, but it's way big workout. So what we have done, we have an RV super bag. It's kind of like a big double sleeping bag. So it just sits on top. You don't have to, it does zip up. So you can zip yourself in and out and zip it to make it look nice, but you don't have to zip it to anything. There are other brands where you zip the sheets to the mattress cover or whatever, but then you still have to remake that every time it's laundry day. We rip the sheets out of the Velcro.
Yeah, and I mean,
it's kind of fun.
The detail of this super bag is so good that even the Velcros are rounded so they don't poke you.
Yeah.
They've done, and they make them here in the U.S., and the quality, it's so good. We still have that same one.
Right. We bought it in like 2019. What we do now is we have one single sheet that we cover the mattress to make, so you can't really see the mattress. You see
the mattress itself, right?
The actual mattress. And that just stays on, maybe once or twice a year, because we don't touch it.
Right.
So once or twice a year, I take it off and wash the dust out and put it back on. But that's how often we have to put sheets on a mattress.
Yeah, it's
not
really
very
easy.
often at all.
And it's very comfortable. There's a winter and a summer side. So anyway, we're going on and on about this. We have other mods too, but the RV Super Bag was one of the early mods, and it was just...
it's great. It's terrific.
I always keep recommending that thing, because it's just good. Oh, you redid the valances and curtains.
So when we had the first trailer, the 1905, my friend Beverly had given me some fabric that had like woody cars and palm trees and stuff, and it was cool. And it's a rock wood, so woody cars in the rock wood worked pretty well. So I took this fabric and I made valances to cover the valances that were in there. Everything is kind of brown and kind of plain, and that's intentional by the RV industry, because that way if you want color you can add color. But if you buy something that's red and woody cars and you don't like red or woody cars, you're kind of out of luck, right? So I covered all the valances over the windows, and then I made a couple of pillow covers. And I didn't make pillows. I just made covers to cover the pillows that came with the RV.
I think we still have them.
We do still have them. It added a pop of color. It wasn't a permanent change, and that's really good. Sometimes you do a mod, and it's like something only you would like.
Yeah,
and if you try to sell that trailer or that RV at some point, you've done something that you can't sell because nobody else wants that.
We'll get into those.
We will.
But yeah, it can. I mean, we had talked about that this could affect resale value, and it really can. If you do significant mods, especially I've seen people paint the cabinets, that sort of thing. I mean, RVs are sort of intended to be neutral, to appeal to to not offend the most people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the bottom line.
Right.
And if you really do something polarizing, which we have done, it can make it more difficult to sell because you just choose from a smaller pool of people, and it can affect your resale value.
So the valance covers that I made could easily be removed. I Velcroed them on.
Yeah.
So they were good for us, and if the next person didn't like that print or that color, they could just pull the Velcro off and have the brown for them to do whatever they wanted to.
They could make their own. I hate the swooshy swirls on RVs. I don't know why they're so prevalent, but I don't know if you remember, I started taking the stickers off the outside of that trailer.
I did.
And if you wait a long time to do that, the underlying material can fade differently.
Right.
So you see, it's like when you go, like somebody's been smoking for 20 years in a house and you take the paintings off and it's like, oh.
Yeah, we thought, we're just going to take all these stickers off, and we took one sticker off and we never got any further.
I think also our objective, we had considered, because we used to go to a lot of car shows, we had considered that fake wood that you put on station wagons from the 70s or whatever.
Right?
Yeah.
So
we're going to put the bottom of the trailer with that. And you can buy that woody sticker stuff for old cars. There's reproductions of it. And we had actually considered, and boy, talk about that would affect the resale value. But it's okay. On Rockwoods and, bunch of other brands, there's like a rail outside the trailer, and they used to include a barbecue griddle, like a propane griddle, and a little table. And now they include a flat top griddle and a little table. And that 1905, being as small as it was, I thought, gosh, it'd be great to have a little counter extension.
Yeah, just a little bit of extra. We literally had like 2 4-inch segments of countertop.
Yeah, it was tiny, tiny, tiny.
So we thought, well, that table that we can hang outside, why couldn't we hang it inside and make a countertop extension?
Yeah, so we did. We went on Amazon and found that rail, and I reinforced the back side of the cabinet because that's mostly decorative, right?
Yeah.
So we put a reinforcement back there, put that rail in the countertop, and bing, bang, boom, it worked out perfectly.
Now, when that counter extension was on, of course, we had to take it off in order to put the Murphy bed down because there wasn't enough clearance between the bed, the foot of the bed, and the edge of the counter.
But it was easy enough to do.
But it was sure nice to have when we were trying to prepare a meal.
Yeah. At that point, that little Facebook group started growing and growing, and Rockwood started to reach out to us, and we started to reach out to them. Because I was honestly concerned. I'm like, am I infringing on their trademark or blah, blah? And no. Yeah. And so we started to talk with Rockwood about trailers and RVs in that group. And they use that group for a lot of market research because there's 12,000 people there who have Rockwoods and Flagstaffs. Smart people.
Yeah. So in 2021, we took our first really long road trip, and we did the entirety of Route 66. Plus, we went to Indiana and visited Rockwood and toured the plant and all kinds of stuff. And we realized that we have kind of transformed from weekend campers to road trippers, road tripping people. I don't want to step on any more trademarks.
Oh, right.
Now we're doing longer trips. We were gone, I think, 6 or 8 weeks on that trip, and we realized that the 1905 was kind of too small for something more than a long weekend.
Yeah, that's true. It was definitely a weekend camper, and it was a great weekend camper, but we decided, we might be interested in something larger. But another mod we did, at the dealership, we would sell Flagstaff E-Pros, which are the small versions of the Rockwood or Flagstaff product line. Typically single axle, but no, not always. And one of the things they came with is this thing called a jacket bike rack. Oh. And that, you basically unscrew the tongue jack and you screw this jacket bike rack and it fits kind of over the tongue jack. Well, I sold a trailer to a dude who he didn't want that thing. And so he's like, no, you just take it off and get rid of it. I know how to get rid of it. We put it on our trailer.
Traded it for a couch.
No, I sold the couch.
I know. So we got this jacket and we put it on our tongue jack, and we were able to hang bicycles on the front of the trailer between the truck and the trailer itself.
Yeah, that was before we had e-bikes. Those were just like proper bicycles.
So that was like the beach cruiser and things like that. Now, we didn't always take our bikes on trips.
No.
Admittedly, it's kind of a high reach. It was a little bit of a high reach for me to put a bicycle up on, because it's up high. But we didn't decide to remove the jacket. What we did was made very good use of it to hold solar panels.
Yeah, we did. It was a great solar panel holder-upper. And that's when we started to get into solar. We had, that 80-watt Go Power solar panel and 2 AGM. Well, first it was flooded batteries.
At the very beginning, we had flooded batteries, like everybody did.
Yeah.
Right? We got the AGM batteries, and we would put that folded solar panel up on the jacket, and it was right there by the batteries to plug it in. It was a great solution. So even after we stopped using it for bicycles, we still had a great use for that.
Yeah, another mod we made to this trailer, and every trailer since, has been to put an RV lock keyless entry.
Yeah.
Why did we do that?
Oh, let's see. Why did we do that indeed? Well, we had misplaced the second set of RV keys. We couldn't find the set anywhere. So we had one set. Fine, we had one set. We came home from a trip one time. I couldn't figure this story out, but now that I figured it out, I can tell it all as one story. I had taken the hitch pin, we took the hitch off, and the hitch pin I laid on the bumper, carried the hitch into the garage, and went in the house. A couple weeks later, when I was looking for the RV key, and by the way, when we had it parked, we always locked both the handle and the deadbolt.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but RV dealers have like a master key. They can open pretty much any door, not
the latch,
deadbolt,
but not the
just
deadbolt.
the latch.
Yeah.
So I had locked everything. A couple weeks later, I went to look for the RV keys to go inside for something. Couldn't find them anywhere. Well, what had happened was I never did take that hitch pin and the keys off the bumper. So when I drove off to go to work the next day, somewhere between home and work is probably still a set of keys and a hitch pin. So unfortunately, we have 0 keys, and even our dealer friend that has a master key can't open it because the deadbolt is
Dealer
locked.
friend, nothing. I had the master key.
No, you had already quit your job.
Oh, okay.
Tony basically had to drill out the old lock.
I was shocked at how quickly I was able to do this. The standard latches on RVs are pretty cheap. And so the RV lock is not only very easy to install, but it's a significant upgrade of the lock and latch on an RV. So if you're thinking about, should I get one of those RV locks?
Yeah, you should.
Do so.
And we've done that, as Tony said, on all the RVs since then.
Something we've also done to every one of our trailers is we put command hooks on the wall for hats. Mm-hmm. And you always wonder, do they stick and are they easy enough to remove? Yes and yes.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's been good.
Something we also did from the very start, and we've transferred it to every RV because it's not kind of a permanent mod, but the gas stop that we put on the propane tanks, they kind of help monitor, sort of. They're not super accurate, but they kind of help you monitor how full your tank is, but they also stop gas, oddly enough, being called gas stop. If there becomes a leak in the line somewhere, they will cut off the gas from the propane tank.
Yeah, we have an interview with Gas Stop that you might want to check out. It's another thing we recommend, as is we bought a Hughes Power Watchdog surge suppressor. Well, I don't like to call them surge suppressors anymore because most of the trouble isn't surges as much as low voltage, which can kill motors like air conditioner motors and fridge motors. So we bought a Hughes Power Watchdog energy
EMS?
management system.
Yeah, energy management system, or EMS.
Yeah.
That covers all the different all the different electrical problems you might have. So when we know we're buying a new rig, we put the gas stop and the Hughes in the truck or whatever, so that we have it for the next, the first thing we have on the new trailer.
Yep. You know, there's a thing that not all of us, but
it happens.
A lot of us
to
do.
A lot of people.
You have a trailer, you talk to Oren, you see our towing calculator, and you realize a Nissan Frontier isn't the best choice for towing the 1905. It was okay. It could pull it, as a lot of people say, but it was overloaded for cargo carrying. So we bought a bigger truck.
So we bought a Ram 1500.
Yep.
As I said, we're kind of leading up to this, but we went on that long trip and realized the 1905 isn't really enough for these long travel road trips, and the 1500 could actually handle a bigger trailer. All that leads up to the fact that also the 1905 suffered an injury.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, we split the frame.
The frame of the travel trailer got broken, and the insurance company totaled it, and we weren't actually able to take it on any more road trips.
No.
And as Tony said, we had started chatting with Rockwood back and forth. We had already thought about getting a bigger rig. And
we had the bigger truck.
We had a bigger truck that could handle it. And so we loved Rockwood. So we said, well, what's the next biggest size of Rockwood?
So we bought a 2205.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about that one is it was a prototype of that floor plan with what they call the power package. And
right.
we'll get into that.
Right.
But that was our introduction to ABC Upfitters and the Master Volt system.
The solar and lithium.
all of that stuff. That was our introduction to that.
So the 2205 fit the bill of being bigger, certainly, but there were some things that, and now we're a little more confident. We've got a little more...
Or stupider.
Or
whichever.
Whatever. We know that mods can be done. We know, we kind of, have a feel for what mods are a good idea and what mods will make us have to keep the trailer forever. That travel trailer comes with theater seats. So it's like a pair of recliners in the slide out. Wonderful.
Yeah, they're
beautiful.
comfy.
They were very comfortable. They aimed perfectly at the television. Unfortunately, what we were doing when we were on these road trips was we were still are working on the road. And so having really comfortable chairs wasn't really our top priority, unfortunately. And so my nephew Joe helped Tony, and we took the theater seats out, and we started using office chairs and these kind of nice TV folding trays as computer desks.
Yeah,
so that was one of our big mods, was taking out the theater seats and turning that into a slide office.
Yeah, and then we also, that was when, so a lot of other stuff was happening, but we're staying at Peggy's sister's in her driveway in this 2205. And we also got our first taste of the Ghost Bed Mattress.
That's right.
And boy, we have just been big fans since then. But yeah, we dumped the RV mattress and got the Ghost Bed.
The other thing that we did while we were still sitting there in the driveway, I believe, we were there about a month because we were in home transition, and we've talked about that
moving
before.
to New Mexico.
Moving to New Mexico. We are, you might notice, kind of large, and RV showers are usually not kind of large, right? And so we had that radius, is that what radius?
Yeah, the radius
shower. Corner shower.
Why
just kind of a round end.
And for a couple of reasons, I don't like those. Our size, but also I've filed enough warranty claims for those big pieces of glass in a moving vehicle is just
kind of not the best combo.
And so I filed a few warranty claims where those shatter. Well, you're always finding glass shards for a long time after that.
So before ours could get a chance to shatter, we took the doors out. So the way it's built is there's two kind of glass walls and then two glass doors that slide kind of together and apart. I can't think of the term for that. It's not French door, but anyway. So we took those two movable glass doors out and replaced them with a shower curtain.
Yeah. Now we're starting to, take out the theater seats, take out the
now we're making
shower. Now we're making some changes.
Some actual significant mods that may or may not make it harder to sell in the long run. But it was what we needed, and we had no intention of really selling it. So we needed it to be what we needed it to be for our lifestyle.
So now we're much happier with this RV.
Yeah.
Sort of, kind of. There was one aspect of it that we just didn't like. And by this point, we've made it to the Forest River Owners Group. We'll be there again this year in August. And we're sat with the folks from Dometic. And Sarah said, so do you have anything you don't like about your RV? And I'm like, yeah, that GE fridge is terrible. The latch was terrible. It was not that efficient. It was terrible.
Every time we got on the road, it was a kind of thing. It didn't have a positive latch. It had one of those, flip it over latches to hold the doors from moving. Well, that thing didn't stay in place.
No, so
it would work its way open. The refrigerator would slide open or swing open and smack into the folded stairs that were right there.
Yeah.
So from basically the first time we drove it, we had a dent in the refrigerator door.
And it would keep hitting those stairs. And we finally kind of figured out how to make that latch sort of work, but it really didn't.
But yeah.
Well, anyway, so we're talking to Dometic, and I'm like, well, I don't like that GE fridge. And Sarah says, how would you like to get one of our fridges? And I'm looking, and I looked at their fridges, and I'm like, yes, please. And so we swapped the GE fridge for a Dometic, I think 1710, same exact size. And oh boy, did we like that fridge. Mm-hmm. That fridge was exceptional.
And jumping ahead just a little, when we were ready to buy again, we thought we would swap out, but it turns out a lot of fridges have vastly improved over the last few years.
Yeah. If you're one of these people who say, oh boy, these 12-volt RV fridges aren't all that great, maybe it's not RV fridges, 12-volt RV fridges in general. It's that yours sucks like ours did.
Or
you.
Not you.
No,
it's not
I'm
you.
just kidding.
It's the brand that you got in the rig that you bought. So there is it is possible to have a good quality, good, closing 12-volt refrigerator. So if you don't
that's
like
more
yours,
efficient than what came from the factory.
If you don't like yours, contact us and we'll give you some advice.
Yeah. On our fun and friendly StressLess Campers Facebook
group. Yeah.
Another thing we changed is we put on at the Frog Rally. We were talking to Daryl Apts from Wacko RV AC Silencer, and the Coleman Mach is, let's just say it's a little noisy, and so
let's just say all RV air conditioners up at that point.
Till that point, okay, I'll give you that.
A little noisy.
Not the Trumas though. The Trumas were good too.
Well, they were very rare.
Yeah, they are. Anyway, so Daryl came and installed a Wacko RV air conditioner silencer. And as part of that, he also sort of sealed the interior of where the AC is. And so the air conditioner was both quieter and more effective.
Yeah, more efficient.
So that was another really good mod we did. And of course, we have our gas stops and our Hughes Power Watchdog and our command hooks and our RV locks and our command hooks.
Yeah, some of those things just keep they're good mods and they're good for every rig. So.
Yeah, makes it there's no doubt that it makes an RV better. So one of the things, hey, the RV industry, listen to this. Lights in an RV should go out at night. I know some of you might like sleeping in a stadium, but lights should be able to be disabled at night, such as on pop-up power pedestals.
Well, wait. I think you're a little bit ahead of yourself.
No. We covered the microwave light.
We didn't have a pop-up in those days, though.
No, but I'm just saying in general.
Okay, gotcha.
So, we had a little USB thing next to the bed that light was always on.
Right. The USB port had a light. The microwave, of course. The older microwave, there was a way that you could turn the display off at night.
Which made sense.
But this one in the 2205 did not have that, so we found a magnet that covered it just right. Also, because of the way that the layout of the 2205, when I was in bed, if I was laying on the proper side, the inverter or the CO detector, whatever has a light, was directly at the other end under the refrigerator, right into my eyeball.
Yeah, RV industry, let's get rid of these LEDs all over the place, shall we?
Yeah.
Huh?
So we either found magnets, like a magnet for the microwave, And then we found these kind of blackout stickers for...
Yeah, Scott from ABC.
Actually, Scott from ABC gave me my first set, and Kate Pickle gave me my second set. So thanks, everybody. I've never actually had to buy them, but they're terrific. You can either mute so that you can still see it, but it's not as bright, or we put 2 or 3 stickers on, and it blocks out the light completely.
Yeah.
Now, as Tony said, we have the pop-up Tower of Powers right next to our bed in our current model.
And they're a bright green light.
Bright green light right there next to the eyeballs.
But we like the pop-up Tower of Power.
Yeah.
Another thing we added to that rig at Quartzsite was the MORryde Saft-T-Rail entry handle, because we really like that thing. And MORryde, it's a neat, we'll show you pictures if you're watching, or if you're listening to this, you can find in the show notes photos. But that Saft-T-Rail is a nifty thing. It really is a nice door handle. It replaces the fold-over door handle, and it's just like a big straight
a straight
handle.
Bar that goes at an angle with the stairs. So kind of, the one that comes with it, you kind of have, it's within a foot or 2 of the actual trailer. If you're at the bottom of the stairs, it's harder to reach. That rail kind of came down with the stairs, so from the bottom of the stairs you already had a handle.
Yeah, it's good. Another thing we did is we got Starlink, and I was like, how am I gonna put the Starlink dish outside with
Starlink's
the
not
thing?
necessarily a mod, right? Because that's all mobile and can come with you, but there was this one little thing that
getting the
cable
from inside out. So I drilled a hole in the side of the camper, and there's
in the door of
in
the
the
cabin.
baggage door, right. And there's we have a video about that, video or story, I don't remember, but we'll put a link to that. And there's a plug I bought on Etsy. Some dude just makes these things for this purpose. You run a cable through, and it's been through some serious weather and no leaks. So allows me to run that cable without really modifying the rig too much. Although you could argue I drilled a hole in the thing.
But it wasn't the whole wall. It was just in a cabinet wall.
Right. You would have to drill it.
Yeah.
You would have to drill it to your own needs.
Correct.
And we did that to our new trailer too.
Right. That's one of those things that, again, we don't anticipate changing trailers, but in the event that we change RVs, that's a mod we'll probably carry forward and do again.
That's true. So the last mod we made was one. We're talking to Rockwood about this mod, and they're like, "Oh, we really wish you wouldn't do it." We got a hitch from B&W called the Continuum. That is the best trailer hitch I've ever used. I love that thing. Well, I shouldn't say that. It is one of my 2 favorites, right?
Sure.
But
there are a couple of things about the Continuum that are less than ideal. With a Rockwood Mini Lite.
With the way the frame is built on the Rockwood, and hence the complaint from Rockwood. I had to cut the frame on the trailer. I had to notch a hole, because the B&W has a piston, a hydraulic cylinder, and that kind of swings a bit as part of the way it works. And on a Rockwood, there's a horizontal member to the frame. I had to cut a notch into it. Boy, were they not happy about that.
They weren't that happy about that. The other thing about the Continuum, which was only a problem one time ever, is it actually sits kind of low.
Yeah.
So it's not normally a problem, but there was a time that we tried to stay with my cousin Julie,
Right.
and because of the configuration of the road and the driveway and the hitch, it scraped the driveway. We could not back into the driveway.
No, it does hang low. We've scraped that thing a few times.
Yeah, it got scraped.
That made it so we couldn't back in.
Yeah. And so those are things to know. Like, they're a great hitch, but if it doesn't fit with your tongue, your RV, manufacturer might not like if you cut it up. And if you go into deep dips,
yeah, it does
it's
scrape.
pretty low. So those are the 2 things.
If you're wondering, we did go back to, we had the Camco Ease Lift TR3.
Yeah.
we went back to that. We had that one just sitting in the garage. We're like, well, on
we were
the
going to sell
new
it.
trailer,
We were going to sell it. Luckily,
we
never
had
got
sold
around
it,
to
but
it.
just the transaction never happened, right?
Right, yeah.
We found someone who
We
wanted
had a
it.
buyer, and then I had to back out on them.
Yeah. So,
Sorry.
so then those are the mods we made to that trailer. And then
So we did all these things, knowing they were permanent mods, knowing that they might affect resale value, but also knowing that we were done changing, right? We were done growing. We had the rig we wanted. However, we also then, during that time, had another truck upgrade.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we talked to Oren.
Oren, you spend a lot of my money.
Right? Our hardly earned money. Oren convinced us to buy a 3/4 ton truck. So now we got a bigger truck. We were at the Frog Rally. That Frog Rally is expensive.
It's not only that he convinced us. It's not only that he talks us into it.
It's numbers.
He reminds us to look at the numbers, and we look at the numbers, and we realize by the 1500 was fantastic, way more than enough to tow the 1905. The 1500 was barely enough to tow the 2205. So we got a 2500, right? And now we're totally enough capacity to carry that 2205. And then, as Tony said, the Frog Forest River Owners Group has a rally every October. We went to the rally, and one of the things that we do while we're there is look through all the new rigs, not shopping, but writing reviews, right? This is one of Tony's big things. He writes RV reviews. And so we were going through all the RVs that were there to write reviews about them. Well, we went into the newly redesigned for 2025 2506 front kitchen.
So we got a 2506 FK.
It was the kind of couple things that we struggled with the 2205, one being kind of a small shower and one being it's all one room. Our lifestyle is such that Tony's up like 2 or 3 hours before me, and he'd not turn on lights and not make any noise and not make the coffee because he didn't want to wake me behind the curtain of the bed. And that we lived with it. It was fine. It wasn't that we were shopping for a new rig, but we went to review the 2506 and realized, now this is the perfect rig.
And so we got that. I will say, this is the least we've ever modified a rig and been really happy with it.
We had to really struggle to come up with a list
for this
portion.
trailer. Well, here's a shocker. We put in command hooks for hats.
We attached our gas stop and used our Hughes Auto Watchdog.
Yeah, I drilled a hole for the Starlink, which now, if you look at we have a resource on our website about how we get internet. We almost don't use the Starlink anymore.
Yeah,
we've been
kind
using,
of a transition.
Yeah, we've been using the FRVA's Wi-Fi hotspot, and it's been so good. We're using it right now here in this hotel.
Right here in this hotel.
One of the first things we did do, though, is we built those shelf things in the closets.
You did that while I was away on the weekend, and that was fantastic. All the Rockwoods we've had, a lot of RVs, in the bedroom have a closet. It's not a closet
common.
from floor to ceiling mostly, but it's from ceiling to midway down. And we don't necessarily need closet hanging space. And so we have always, looked for ways. We've used stacking containers with lids and stacked in there, which means you always want what's on the bottom, right? We have used the hanging, closet sweater shelving thing and hung that in there, so we had kind of some shelves in. Well, that worked for quite some time, but my last one, the hooks that hook up to the closet rod just straightened out.
Well,
I think might have put too many clothes in there.
Might be, but you know what? Here's the interesting thing. So the closet in our previous Mini Lite was up at the front of the rig.
Right.
And this closet is all the way in the back behind the axle, and it's a longer trailer. So there's more of that shaking. Both of us, that hanging closet thing, the hanger part straightened out and just dumped.
Yeah, mine's straightened and yours ripped, right?
Yeah, mine ripped. And so we got these little shelves. Peggy found these shelves that fit perfectly in the closet. And they're those kind of shelves that, it's like a pole with a bunch of rings on it and those plastic goodies. So you kind of mash the shelf down on the plastic
so
goodie.
you can kind of put the shelf where you want it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
these
yeah.
little plastic.
And you have to count the rings, and you always get the count
right.
wrong.
And I've been looking for one that would fit for a long time, and finally someone in some group that I'm on in Facebook, who knows where, posted that they found, and it was this measurement, and I said, oh, that's exactly the measurement I need. So I found them, and I ordered 2 of them, and then I said, but I don't just want shelves, because then I have to reach all the way to the back, and things are going to fall off the back. So I found some fabric boxes, open top boxes, that fit right between the two legs of the closet shelf, and that has been the most wonderful solution. Now, the day you're putting them in there, you will not think it's a wonderful solution because they are,
those shelves.
I have heard, I haven't done it because Tony did it while I was gone. They are quite a feat of contortionism to build it inside the closet.
Well,
you
and
can't
then
build it
you
outside
have to
and
count
push it in.
like how many rings, and then put the plastic thing, and then shove the shelf down.
In a dark
and there's
closet.
4, and you're kind of reached over the bed type of situation, and so it's a contortionist. I rate jobs by how many bad words are involved. That was for as easy as a job as it is. That was a multiple bad words job.
Yeah, if you can sit on the couch and do it in front of the coffee table,
it's
easy as pie. I've built those things so many times. But when you have to build it inside the closet because it won't go in after it's built, it's a little more work, but so worth it. There's also, because, cabinets are big and things slide around, we found at Costco, I believe, this set of clear, kind of acrylic or plastic, whatever they are, clear containers, and those are now organizing every shelf of every closet and cabinet.
Yeah, those are,
have.
and one of the things I like about them is they're clear, of course, but also you can take them in and out of the house for packing and unpacking. So like if it's spices or canned goods or whatever, you just haul it in the house and reload or unload, whatever. But yeah, they make that very easy. And we also started using totes in the 2205, and now the whole pass-through storage on our trailer.
Storage.
Yeah. Well, we have baskets inside and totes outside, and we labeled all the totes, and boy, that makes it totes awesome.
Now we did have totes that were clear plastic
with
a lid that snapped on and a handle, which I never wanted to use because I was afraid the box was too full of heavy stuff. And those were nice and they stacked in there nicely. But then I saw that someone had this kind of the same size, but in those, I don't know what brand they are, but those black and yellow, black totes with yellow lids. And they had small enough ones that were almost the same size. They're a lot more durable. So they're not see-through, but we put labels on them with a label maker, and they're a lot more durable. They're stackable. They're really good for fitting inside
label
the
maker
outer.
Is my friend. I even have a label on the rearview mirror of our truck with how tall the trailer is, so that if you're approaching a bridge and you're like, what was that number again? You just look in the mirror and it's right there.
Well, come on, admit it. You have a label on the label maker that says label maker.
Well, yeah, that way you know what it is. She's actually right.
I'm not kidding.
We also hang towels. Peggy found a Camco over the door towel holder.
Well, I think we've probably had 6 or 8 of them over time. They're different, different designs, but they hang over the bathroom door, and that's what we use to hang our towels on. Because, again, a Rockwood thing, I don't know if this is universal, but when we bought each trailer, there's a bag, and in that bag is a toilet paper holder and a towel bar that you can screw onto the wall wherever you want it. Well, screw into the wall is not a thing that's one of the mods we don't like to do.
Yeah.
And so We got an over the bathroom door is a towel holder, and over the bathroom cabinet door is a toilet paper holder.
Yeah. And those things have been great.
Yeah.
And then we also have a paper towel roll holder.
That goes over a cabinet door.
That goes over a cabinet door, but super bonus, it fits in the outside TV mount.
It used to. This new TV mount is different.
Oh, is it?
If you've got the kind of TV mount that's sort of a wide V shape that you can slide the TV down into, our over the door paper towel holder also slides right into that V shape, but this new mount is different. So.
And we've covered the LEDs in this trailer.
Yes, with those stickers from Kate.
And then another thing we recently added is a windshield cover from Magne Shade. And I'll put a link to that video that we did. But, oh boy, this thing is just, it's top notch. I was so impressed with the way they measured our windshield and then created this windshield cover. So now if you have a 2021 or newer Rockwood or Flagstaff Mini Lite, Micro Lite, they make a windshield cover for it, and also a shade cover, and they just go on by magnetics. And as you might know if you've listened to this for any length of time, I'm the laziest person to do any job. And so, you might, we had a windshield cover previously on the 2205.
It was Velcro.
Yeah, it was Velcroed on. It went on one time, and it never came off.
Now that's partially laziness, but it's also partially, I didn't feel like it was going to last forever if we were ripping that Velcro off every single time we stopped. So we just, and it was over the bed.
Yeah.
We didn't really need a window over the bed. You know? And
whereas
so
this
now,
new trailer, the windshield is in the kitchen where you want it.
You want to be able to open it. So the Magne Shade has been great. It's so easy to put on and take off.
It is second. Well, if you can watch the video, it is seconds to get this thing on and off. And it even comes with a pole, and it's got these little pockets. And you don't ever get up on a ladder. Except when you're putting it on.
When you're putting the magnets in on the first time. Now you said if you own a 2021 or new blah blah blah, they will make it for any travel trailer. It's just that they already know the measurement for the windshield that Rockwood and Flagstaff have been using since 2021.
Right, and they have these window shades for a ton of different RVs.
Sure, yeah.
They started with Class A's and all that. So
now, of course, with Class A's, you only put it on while you're stopped, and you do that to block the front windshield so that you have more living space without being seen. A travel trailer wants it for a completely different reason, right? And so they're nice and thickly padded. They're very secure. They,
It's a American made, and it's a high quality product. It's the ideals that we look for, right? A company here that's family owned that makes a high quality product.
Yep.
So we like those Magne Shade windshield covers. And there's also a sunshade. So you can, you put this on, it reduces the sun coming into the RV, but you can still see out. So it's kind of a neat, so we swap it if you ever find us camping, chances are we'll have the sunshade on the windshield. And that one, they can custom print, so we had our logo put on
our
it.
logo's on it.
So there you go.
Can't hide from you guys.
So what was the biggest mod we did do to this trailer?
Okay, so very first thing we did after we transferred everything from the 2205 to the 2506, and they put the hitch on while we were there.
Yes, they did. Yeah. Yeah, that was Wana RV in Shipshewana, Indiana. They're good folks. We have now bought 3 trailers from them.
So they got that all set up. We immediately drove straight to ABC Upfitters.
Yes, we did.
Because this model, they do not have a power package option where Rockwood puts the power package in as they build the RV, and we still wanted it, so we got an upfit.
Yep, so ABC, basically they went to the factory to see how these things are built, looked at the placement of things, and they custom upfit a power and lithium system specifically for this trailer. And that's what they do. They do a lot of custom upfits, and they are in Indiana. They speak directly to the RV manufacturers so they can measure cabinets and see how things are plumbed and wired and put in a system that it just has worked since we got it in November. It has worked perfectly since we got it in November. We've done so much boondocking and off-grid camping, and it's just a solid system. We've had no glitches with it. The installation is so professional. It's high quality looking. I would say it's factory, but I know some of you don't have the best opinion of RV factory. So I'd say it's an automotive grade installation. How's that?
Yeah, it's good.
And it just works. And they worked with us to tailor the system to how we camp and what our demands are. And that's the kind of people they are. They also installed vertical tail lights.
I was going to say, we got a kind of we're good at getting those prototype things.
Yeah.
We got a prototype brake light system.
Yeah.
That couldn't be seen from outer space.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So if you're watching this on video, there'll be a video of it. If not, we have a link to where you can see it on our website.
Yeah, pictures don't really do it justice.
No, it's fantastic. And we've had people walk up to us at like campgrounds. We're pulling in. They're like, "Where did you get that?"
Yeah.
ABC Upfitters. And if that's the kind of upfit that you want for your RV, no matter what type of RV, what age even, you can give them a call at 574-333-3225.
That's 574-333-3225, or look them up on our website. And we are running pretty late. So here's what I'm going to say. While you're on the website, sign up for the newsletter, join our Facebook group, Stressless Campers Facebook group, so that you can have discussions, answer questions, ask questions, things like that. And with that, I think we should stop talking and let these people get back to their day.
Yeah, so with that,
Stressless camping.